In this video, I'm going to talk about elements of drama, and this video should accompany the beginning of our drama unit, the beginning of your reading of Death of a Salesman. I'm going to break the video into two parts, but there are several elements of drama I'd like you to consider as you begin reading Death of a Salesman. And those elements are character, setting, plot, theme, and symbolism. Because drama primarily relies on direct dialogue or direct speech interaction between characters and a limited amount of setting or physical description of place, character and symbolism, understanding character and symbolism becomes so much more important to understanding the meaning of the text or the meaning of the work as a whole. So to begin, I want us to think about character, and the advice or the sort of details that I'm going to give here are applicable to any drama, but also specific to Death of a Salesman. When considering character, you want to think about what are the character's wants or desires. Relatedly, you want to think about whether or not those wants and desires change over time. When a character's wants and desires change over time, we have what's called a dynamic character on our hands as opposed to a flat or unchanging character. In addition, when a character changes over time, that change oftentimes communicates something about the theme. This was very similar to an idea we looked at when we talked about short fiction. How do stage directions inform the character? Now, most dramas, you're not going to come across a whole lot of stage directions. The same is true in Death of a Salesman, but pay attention whenever you see those italicized directions to how things are being said. Are they being shouted? Is there a gesture or physical gesture that accompanies them? All of those things are going to help us understand who a character is. Finally, related to character, we want to think about how the character is complemented or contrasted by another character in the drama. Oftentimes in drama, characters who are very different from one another will be set alongside each other in order to emphasize the sort of differences or the qualities that each of their characters represents. And oftentimes those differences will help us understand something about the theme. As you read Death of a Salesman, pay close attention to the ways that Biff and Happy are contrasted and the ways in which they represent two different tracks of maleness or masculinity. In addition to character, you want to pay attention to setting. In most dramas, as I've said before, you're not going to get a whole lot of written stage directions or a whole lot of setting description. Setting often appears at the beginning of acts. So dramas are usually divided into acts and then scenes. So act 1, scene 1, act 1, scene 2, or act 2, scene 1, act 2, scene 3. You can sort of think of these like chapters and subchapters. But when thinking about setting, we want to ask ourselves, is the play taking place in more than one setting? And if so, how do those settings relate to one another? In addition, how does the setting inform our understanding of the theme? Now, in Death of a Salesman, we have a pictorial representation down here at the bottom of the screen, and this represents the setting, which you'll read in pages 1 and 2. But you'll notice that there's a figure at the fore who's sort of hunched over carrying a briefcase. But more importantly, the setting is represented by this house, which is, of course, open face, like a dollhouse, that would allow viewers in a live theater to see what's happening. But notice the way in which around the house we have crowded these tall city buildings. Right, so pay attention when you're reading on pages 1 and 2 of the play, the way in which that setting is described, the crowding of the buildings surrounding the house, and throughout the play, think about what that might say about the American dream, about abandonment, about the crowding out of dreams, about the crowding out of family, about the crowding out of possibilities, about how modernity may alter what is possible for certain groups of people in a given time.